Good evening. Right, hopefully I remembered to unmute the microphone. First time this time. Yeah, sorry for the delay. I just, wow. I'm not going to apologise for making a cup of tea. Highly important. Good evening. I'll just make sure I mute the stream myself. I remembered to unmute the microphone. First time this time. So I remembered to unmute the microphone. I forgot to mute the YouTube switch on stream on my own, so. Right, time for some Tuesday night mining, I guess. And as promised, I am going to vary it up. King George would indeed agree about the tea. Basically what the British Empire was built on, so why would Star Citizen be any different? Although notably, I don't know of anywhere I can actually get a cup of tea in Star Citizen. All seems to be coffee. Clearly, coffee won the beverage wars of 2732. Right. Quite keen to keep varying it up with this Tuesday night mining. So go take the rock out. A little bit worried that I don't have a head though. Could this get problematic? Might be worth just cheeky backspace, I guess. Been a while since we've had this bug. Maybe a little relog. Try a little relog. America was built on too much tax. Yeah, hopefully a quick relog fixes that, Silas. Considering my backspace didn't even work, that was a poor sign. Helps if we make sure we actually click on exit to menu. It's Star Citizen. Wouldn't be a Star Citizen stream without a few bugs, so let's just do them immediately. Let's maybe just change servers. So maybe my head got lost in the USA. Maybe I'll get reconnected with it if I log into one of those servers. Hopefully I'm able to read all the chat this time. Let's see. Yep. I managed to take a moment and actually get multi-stream chat working. So that should make it a lot easier and a lot less me having to interfere with things. My head was indeed stuck in America. Although, sadly, it seems that my backpack, along with my railgun and my gun, have decided to stay in Europe. So you can get a Frontier Consolidated mug from the Frontier Consolidated merch store, which I believe I should have a link to. I'll see if I can find a link in a second. But if you're in the Discord, which I did stick a link in the video description of the YouTube video, and I will quickly remember to type in the Twitch chat, just in case anybody wants to hop into the Discord who isn't there already. It is .gg FRCN. Nice and easy to remember. So yeah, I am going to be taking a Valkyrie today, I think. Evening Noise, how you doing, mate? Yeah, Hangar 6. So we're going to take a Valkyrie, go do some rock mining. Vary it up, we did a bit of prospector mining last week. Anybody want to take a guess at which ship we're going to take out next week? The RSI Arastra. The mole. Bit of mole mining next week. The thing about the UK, we know how to make a good mug, Andrew. Alright. I have to just remember. The Valkyrie, it's been a while since it's had an update, so it's got one of these old school doors, which don't actually have any buttons on them. But I was semi-prepared this week, and I did actually stick a rock inside. Let's just see though, what backpacks do I... my Novikov did make it into inventory. Let's just see. Rule 1 of rock mining, bring a gun. Rule 2, bring a railgun. Because, you know, you don't necessarily expect to win a fight, but it's just nice to think that maybe you might have given some pirates a little bit of a moment to pause. Oh, nice, you helping to set up the for the Crux Cup noise. I'm looking forward to that. I've been waiting a year to to redeem myself. For anybody who doesn't know, the Crux Cup is a oh yeah, look at the right screen. That one's a little bit out of time. Got to keep telling myself this, and one day I'll remember. Yeah, the Crux Cup is a endurance race. I got a Rock DS. We'll go through that in a second. Oh, new to the game, after using the elevator for the third time, I was teleported to the void of space. Any tips for new players? Yeah, expect that roughly 1 in 3 to 4 times. Elevators will try to murder you. Don't be put off by it though. It's a lot less than 1 in 3 times, don't worry. You've just got a bit unlucky, but elevators do have a tendency to be a little bit on the deadly side. They come out of retirement to go murdering again once in a while. But it's one of those things where, as long as you're enjoying yourself, over time you will learn to do things to lessen the bugs. And one of those I can recommend specifically regarding elevators is always just walk into elevators, don't go sprinting into them. Because quite possibly what happened is somebody else sprinted around you, or you sprinted around somebody else. Because of desync, you didn't see it happen, and then you just bounced off into space through the wall of the elevator. It is quite possible. Right, I came out in my Novikov armor to make sure we could go somewhere cold if we needed to, and also because I think it looks really cool. But I think we're gonna go Daymar. Having said that, of course, plots me a jump that's not really in line. Yo, North, how's he doing? But yeah, going all the way back to the Crux Cup. The Crux Cup is an endurance race around the Ahumani Ring. I'm going to probably be murdering the pronunciation of that. Which is down at Horizon. It's a really cool track where you sort of fly through a bunch of the platforms there. And yeah, it's quite a long track. But one of the really cool things about the Crux Cup is you've got all sorts of different classes. So you're all on the same track at the same time, but like I was competing in the Aurora class, and then like Prof Decoy was just whizzing past me in the Banu Defender, in the Speedier class, and there were some people competing in things like C2s and sort of the I think we even had a couple of people flying around in Reclaimers, which was amazing to see. Racing Reclaimers, it has been done. But unfortunately, I did not cover myself in glory, as before I made it past the start line for the very first time, I crashed. Had a wonderful desync crash in which my little Aurora took out a C2. So I felt very bad for that guy, and also I had to get all the way back out and start again. And then trying desperately to fit in a 6th lap before the end. As I got round my 5th lap, there's an option to pit and refuel. And I thought, because I'd pitted sort of before, after 3 laps, I thought I might have enough to make it round that extra lap. And on the very last straight, right before coming in and completing what would have been a reasonable amount of laps, my little Aurora ran out of fuel, and on the final straight, I tumbled down into the atmosphere of Orizon to be slowly crushed to death. So yeah, that was not my finest moment. So, back to the Aurora this year, and my goal is to definitely pit stop enough to maybe make it round without falling to my death this year. That's the goal. Oh, sorry, Ben. Why is my chat in the middle? I'll be honest. I got a new widescreen monitor, and it rendered a whole bunch of my previous stream overlays obsolete, unfortunately. So yeah, I opted for a slimmed down, simplified version. Oh, hey, Rude. How you doing, mate? Oh, you got a prospector. Just as you got a prospector, I'm going back to a little bit of rock mining. Right now, I haven't quite got my signatures committed to memory, but I'm hoping that because this popped up at very short notice that it's gems. At a sig of 8,680, it would be quite a lot. There we go. Right, let's take a look at what type of gems though. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like apherite to me, but we'll just double check on the scan. Make sure my eyes aren't deceiving me and it's not Dolvine. Yeah, it is apherite. It's good. Now, generally speaking, if I'm really tryharding, I'll probably avoid apherite as well and go purely for hadanite. But this evening, I am not particularly tryharding, so. Yeah, chat is exactly in the middle for maximum obstruction. Actually, for mining specifically, it shouldn't be in particularly an obstructive space. Open. Yeah, so the thing is, Sky, I know people's I know who is who. But then I don't know whether I should, because some people do use like their real name on like YouTube comments and Twitch and stuff. And so then I feel like, should I say, so I might be accidentally mildly doxing somebody. The new gem, Janolite, that is only in caves. Odin. Specifically, I believe sand caves. I think are the ones which have it. Let's hope. Right. Yeah, that might have been a little bit unwise. We'll deal with that problem when we get back to it. We'll start by cracking rocks and then we'll work out how to get back into our ship. Now, I am indeed using the Rock DS, and I, unironically, quite like it. Particularly because, as of, what, about patch 320, I want to say, maybe 319, we have got much bigger clusters of gems like this, which means the time you take messing around with the Rock DS's seed isn't actually as bad, because you can get into position and stay there for longer. So it's really not as big a deal that you have to get in and out of the seat when needed. The other thing is, I just much prefer the Rock DS's interface. Like, compared to the normal Rock, which you have to, like, mess around with to get it working, and sort of often sort of hold it off to the one side, right? I just think the Rock DS is a much smoother thing, and also the laser power's more, so it's a bit smoother. Nice. Find it makes rock mining just that little bit more relaxed. So, there was method behind the madness, and people think I'm just low-key trolling when I say I like the DS. It got such a bad reception. Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily say better, Joden, but it's got a more powerful laser. Which, particularly when some of the rocks were being quite buggy, was definitely seeming to help, but now they're not being particularly buggy, but it means it's quite comfortable. You don't have to, like, move around as much in between. So, like, I think, for example, if I've parked this right, I should be able to get all of this cluster, like even that rock at the back, because I'm using really minimal power. So, like, yeah, I can get round to that rock. Yeah, I should be able to get, like, this entire cluster without actually moving. And one of the other things in the rock is just when it comes to this extraction mode, just to be patient. Because as you sort of see, as I leave the laser on a patch, like, there's no sense sort of wiggling that laser around. It even got those at the edge. It's got quite a big area of effect, but it just takes a little while to get to it. So yeah, definitely worth just being patient. I sometimes see people when they're starting out and they're very much like, you know, and that's not really doing anything good. Evening, Waldemar. How you doing? Might have made a mistake and not let the yeah, okay. I got a little bit overexcited there. Started shooting it before I'd got the scan. That's an interesting one. Oh. You didn't see this, okay? I did not just blow up my ship. That is the downside to the Rock DS. Let's be honest here. It is a little bit you can't move away if you get distracted and don't notice that rock you overcooked had blown all your wheels off. What was that somebody said about watching the master at work? Oh, I'm gonna blame you. You cursed me. Right, now let's just really hope I can running jump back into my ship. Maybe if I get up on this rock. Well, that felt like it was going to be a bit too far, but it's just about okay. I'm a little bit worried about all these warning lights in my Valk. I feel like I might have done it some damage as well. Yeah, this isn't looking like a good sign. Let's hope we can limp back to a station. I got distracted by, yeah, I'm sure that'll buff straight out of us. Oh, it's a little bit red. It's alright. Right. Nobody tell the insurance company. Yeah, major torque imbalance. No joke. No joke. Still. Yeah. Yeah, that is Loud's examples of what not to do. Don't forget it's a rock DS and start cooking the rocks before you've got the scan up. That is a very good lesson that I was just out there to teach and willing to sacrifice my own rock DS for. And also, you know, don't go for Aphorite. Aphorite's not as valuable as Hadnite. Bad luck. But yeah, go back to the question that distracted me because it was a really good question, which is, what are my thoughts on the Sulan? I'm going to call it the Sulan. I think that's going to be the, I think that's going to be the one. Yes, YouTube chat's not coming through on the screen. I don't totally know why that is. It seems that every time I stream, I have to go away and learn something new about setting up Streamlabs properly. Good thing is, I can read all of the chat. So I will read out good questions. We've got a question on just what are your thoughts on the Sulan. And I struggle with it, I'll be honest. And I think it's a struggle in terms of just how personal certain views on certain ships are, right? Like, it's clearly not a bad ship. It's got a lot going for it, but it's very, very not for me. So definitely for me, it's a no for my personal use. I'm not kidding. That animation for getting in and out of the seat made me feel quite motion sick, and I don't like. I've enjoyed a lot of like VR games and stuff. Like I've never really suffered with motion sickness before, except ironically playing War Thunder until I learned playing War Thunder in VR. You have to build in a little bit of lean to sort of trick your inner ear when you're banking really hard. But yeah, that Sulan seat did just make me feel quite queasy almost. So yeah, for that reason, it really put me off. Also, I just think sort of in terms of recommending it for new players, it's like just the fact that it flies different to every other ship makes it a little bit weird, maybe. Like, it's, you know, there's that sort of commonality between all the other ships. So when you learn in one, it's quite natural to then progress to other ones. But the fact that Sulan has its own specific flight mechanic makes it maybe a little weird. Also, yeah, the fact that so my current real number one starter ship is the cutter, or the you know, if you're sort of pushing into the advanced starter territory, I would say either the cutter or the Titan. You know, Penguin strong. It seems like my repairs are, or maybe they're so bad that they don't even want to tell me what they are, but this pad doesn't seem to want to repair my ship. So we'll get the Rock DS back out. We'll see if maybe we can fly somewhere else, because I'm not sure about all these red flashing lights. I feel like I need to get a fix. Alright, we'll close that door just to make sure nobody boards it, but maybe people will be put off by the big, you know, clearly nearly dead ship. Yeah, I think that's my thing with it, Synthetic. Like, if you're recommending a ship to a new player, I do sort of think the Sulan could be quite disorienting. Like, it's alright if you start in one of the hangars, which is sort of straight up. That's okay. But if you get one of the smaller hangars, like
Welcome.
one of the sort of ones which comes out of the side of the New Babbage spaceport or the Area 18 spaceport. You know, most new players are going to be starting at Area 18. That could be an awkward first takeoff, which sort of even for a relatively experienced player would be a bit tricky. The other thing which I think is a little bit problematic with it is much like a lot of the alien ships, how crazy it gets when you lose like one of the wings. So, you know, the major torque imbalance isn't a joke. Whereas if you sort of lose a wing off a Titan or off an Aurora or etc., like a lot of those ships, like they fly all right, even if they lose a couple of thrusters. But the Sulan, like I came out of I was just flying it around. I got interdicted. It fights pretty well. It is a reasonable fighter, and sort of 3 size 3s is a pretty good combo on a ship of its size. But the moment I lost one of those wings on it, it just sort of every time I went to stop, it just bucked really, really badly. See, Andrew, like people who've just turned up to the stream, they don't need to know. They don't need to know about me blowing up the first rock. I could just be getting the. This could be me getting the first rock out. I could be being less prepared. But no, I did have a slight mining accident. So.
Please visit us again. Goodbye. Welcome to the ASOP vehicle retrieval system.
Diego, Everest Harbor, full armor set. You can certainly buy the yellow aerial hazard armor at the cargo deck. Just if you're looking for any old full set of armor. There we go, the rock is good as new. Now, if only the Valkyrie could be the same. Yeah, Thoris, if you started out of a side hangar at New Babbage on your first day and you managed to take off in the Sulan without crashing, that is impressive. That gives me faith that you are a Star Citizen natural. That is for sure. Because I tried landing it into one of those hangars, and well, let's just say I started with 2 out of 3 wings, and I ended with 1 out of 3, maybe. Right, let's see. He has not left me room to get up. I've probably committed an armistice zone violation by ramming that. Let's see, is there going to be space to fit this through? The precision rock driving. You'd never tell that this was a replacement from an accident. Rock DS is quite noisy, has to be said. How does the scanning seat in the Terrapin work? I don't believe it does. I could be wrong. But I know for sure the Constellation Aquila's anti-scanning seat doesn't work as yet. So I think those are they are there, but sort of lacking in functionality. So yeah. That will come in later. But right now it's just a nice seat for you, bud. Right noise. Sorry, I've just caught up on that. They changed the camera on the Sulan, so I mean, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the Terrapin is a brilliant looking ship. But yeah, I too hope it gets some love. I also hope that I'm allowed to repair my Valkyrie. I'm not. Right, let's go find another landing pad and see if they will give me some Valkyrie repairs. Because we, at the end of the day, don't really want to be starting a mining trip from a mining outpost anyway. That would make us pirate bait. Let's see. Yeah, for anyone just joining, we are gonna go back and do some mining now. Hopefully after I maybe get a few repairs. I don't really want to go all the way back to called Seraphim. So I think I'll just try the other mining outpost on Daymart. See if we can get the Valkyrie repaired, because, you know, unfortunately, that's not a paint job. That's a mild accident I had. Oh. That is some crazy gifting of memberships on the go. Thank you very, very much. Oh, thank you, Jamba. That is amazing. I'm sorry, like I say, I am an incredibly amateur streamer. But I will give you a personalized shout out, Jamison. Thank you very much, my friend. How many hours do I have in the game? I am glad to say I don't know. Because, you know when Steam tells you how many hours you've got in a game, and then you look at Ark Survival Evolved and see, like, enough thousands of hours that you could have learned a significant real-world skill. And then you feel a little bit bad. Yeah, I get the feeling that maybe if Star Citizen did the same thing, maybe I would be having the same experience. So, although to be fair, I did learn some real world skills with Star Citizen. And also, one of the funny things with Star Citizen is how much of that time was spent sort of like taking hours over making videos. So. And hey, I do really love this game. So there is something about it. I think, to be fair, like when because I backed for the game back in 2014, I want to say 2014, but I just didn't have a hope in hell of playing it. Basically, my computer was way behind the times. So I was sort of like, I made my pledge, and then every now and again I would log in, try and download it, get in and try playing it, and be like, nope, this isn't working. So yeah, it was quite a while before I eventually sort of started playing. I started playing properly in 2020. Doesn't take too much of a guess to work out why somebody might have been playing a lot more computer games in 2020. And yeah, I think one of the first things which really made me go like, wow, was actually I was doing some rock mining with a buddy of mine, and yeah, that first moment where you sort of like go and land on a planet and open the back door and you're actually on a moon, like that was kind of mind blowing for me. I was pretty sold on the game at that exact point. Second most played game is Ark Survival is probably up there. For a competitor, and it's been a while since I have looked on the website time wasted on leagueoflegends.com. But that website does exist, and that is how you can know how much of your life you have spent playing League of Legends. And to be fair, sort of the time you spend in any survival game is usually kind of overstated, because obviously in most survival games there's not like AFK timers, and you do a lot of stuff. So like at some of the times when I was like really into playing Ark, I would log in and knock out a few dinos that I wanted to tame at the start of the day, and then throughout that day I might do like other stuff like clean my house. And during the time that I was cleaning my house, I would pop in and check on those dinosaurs that I was taming, or have a bit of time to go and look at other stuff, right? Whereas in games like Star Citizen, or particularly mobbers like League of Legends, like your time on it is your time. That is you actively playing the whole time. So really, I want to get out of the mountains, but just over there, I can see what looks like thrusters. And I've got a feeling that could possibly be somebody just doing a bounty target, like an NPC. So I'm just going to burn it for a little way before we try. But after Daedalus Rising, I learned about flying around mountains too quickly in the dark, so I'll make sure that I'm aiming my nose up. Yeah, I played official for quite a while, but then I played unofficial because I got older, and Skylancer, JT is never friendly. Hey, Madworld, how you doing, mate? Right, let's see. Yeah, it's disappeared and didn't pick up on the radar. I think we're good to start scanning, and we're over a bit more flat terrain, so that's good. Ideally want some... yeah, I've been in all sorts of tribes. Oh, that could be something good. Popped up at short range. 620 signature. It's going to be gems, but I feel it's only going to be one gem. If I remember rightly, it's units of 620. One singular gem. One singular gem is not worth stopping for. Let's not do it. Yeah, I would agree with you, Sky. This is the best Valkyrie paint. But I also kind of think that's a bit of a shame. Bit of a shame that it is the best Valkyrie paint. Because, I was having a look at like the 3 Valkyrie skins available, and they're a bit lame. Not gonna lie. My most memorable moment in Ark, probably during the what was it called? The one which was all underground, Aberration. Sort of some of the fights on that, the PvP fights were amazing. Although to be fair, for all of the hours that I played Ark, I actually think, because it was the first survival game I played, I have had more fun and generated more memorable moments in other survival games. Like, in particular, I would say Last Oasis and Atlas actually generated more memorable moments than Ark did. In Ark, everything sort of just got a bit... It got a bit stale, I'll be honest. Right. See if I can remember. There we go. So yeah, let's start lesson 2 by doing some of this like a little bit more professionally. Open the exterior and check it hits the ground before you leave the cockpit. Is the #1 rule. One of the things I really like about the Valkyrie though, do that little jump and then you skip out the ladder. Yeah, synthetic. I think I will go back and try Ark Survival Ascended when Scorched Earth comes out. I found Ascended in general a little bit underwhelming. And I think it was for 2 reasons really. I think because I got so used to playing with good mods. So like things like Structures Plus. It was yeah, a bit of a pain to go back to playing without all that good stuff. And the other reason was I missed my wyverns. Games I don't play anymore. I don't know. I mean, like, I love a lot of the stuff that Rockstar have made, like Red Dead and GTA. But you know, it's good for a playthrough, right? I've never really got too much into the online stuff of those. I really miss the game I miss most in the world. Probably is Last Oasis. It was an incredibly good. It's an incredibly good game, which unfortunately just died a bit of a death. If you want a cautionary tale for when all the when the whole PvP versus PvE debate starts up, and if anybody says that, you know, the entire game should be PvP all the time and you should never have any sort of opportunity to escape it, I would take a look at Last Oasis, because that is what that was. And unfortunately, if you sort of overbalance towards killers, yeah, and just full disclaimer, in that game, that I was a pirate. I was PvPer all the time. Had a lot of fun with it, but basically there was nothing stopping people seal clubbing. So they did seal club, and then the seals gradually left. And then a lot of the people who's just really enjoyed shitting on noobs, basically, they didn't like it when they became the least skilled people in the game. And then every day that they played, they were just getting the same experience that the seals were getting. Like, so then they quit, and then the next people quit, the next people quit. And what you're left with is a very good game which has an average daily player count of about 70 people. So yeah, I mean, I moved on and got a bit bored as the population dropped like everybody else did. So why am I using the DS? I really like the DS, unironically. I did went over this a bit before I blew one up. Because one of the big downsides to the DS is that if you overcook a rock, you're not getting away. Although I get the feeling with how much I overcooked that rock that there probably wouldn't have been any getting away in a normal rock. I find the laser really stable. I find the UI a lot better than the standard rock. It doesn't sort of generate lots of glare, but it's then hard to see the actual sort of indicator through. And particularly since we've got these patches which have typically larger numbers of individual nodes, there's not actually as much getting in and out of the seat as there used to be when the average cluster was like 4 or 5. For the current game, this with like what 6 gemstones is actually quite a small cluster. Wasn't sure if the normal rock was bugged. No. I mean, I understand why the Rock DS was originally interpreted to be a bit of a joke, but I sort of think it's actually one of those ones which, yeah, people should go back and give it another look. Because now it really is not half bad. And if you position it right like this, you know, you can reach all of the gem nodes in a cluster. So you've only got to do that, getting in and out of the driver's seat once, and then yeah, it's nice and easy. I'm not really going to use the because it does have a decidedly larger cargo bay as well. You know, you've got room for what, like it's about 800 gems in a normal rock, and you've got room for 3,500 in this. I don't think that is a good reason to prefer the DS. Because, you know, just because you can fill something with 3,500 gems does not necessarily equate to you should. One of the things which I've got to get better at remembering from a muscle memory point of view is that the mining laser intensity doesn't reset. So I'm quite used to, like, once I turn the laser off, it going back to 0%, right? I think that's my main excuse for what I did to the first rock of the evening, well, third rock of the evening. What I did to the first mining run of the evening. I think I turned my laser back on, and it was obviously at far higher intensity than I intended. Evening, Rocky. Happy Tuesday to you as well. It's I'm quite liking doing these streams on a Tuesday night, because Tuesday is my least favourite day of the week in terms of, like, from a work perspective. Like, everybody always thinks Mondays suck. But, like, what I personally find about Mondays is that everybody kind of hates that they're back at work on a Monday. And so actually they're quite quiet. Like, people don't do a lot of emailing on Mondays. So what you then tend to find is that all the stuff which should have got asked for on a Monday gets asked for on a Tuesday. This is a little bit of a funny break. Seems we're all on it. All on a hill. Tuesday's the best. It's the furthest away from Monday. That is true. That is true. But it's still pretty far from the weekend. But once I get to a Tuesday night, I'm happy. I just need to get to a point of financial security where I can stop working Fridays as well, because then Tuesday night would be halfway through my week. That would be amazing. But, you know, I'm a millennial, so that point of financial security where I can afford to give up a weekday of work is Probably sometime in the 2100s, I would imagine. That would probably be our equivalent of retirement as millennials, I reckon. Going down to 4 days a week. So, or maybe that's just me because I buy too many internet JPEGs. Have to get a part-time job as a retired man to fund my Star Citizen habit. Still waiting for Squadron 47 to come out. That's it. Maybe these JPEGs are just NFTs. Maybe we're all gonna be rich. No. Just to be clear, no. Star Citizen should never be considered a financial investment. Very much in the expenses camp. There we go. We successfully mined some rocks. Didn't have to move. And we didn't blow up the rock DS or our ship. Professional. Now where did I leave my Valkyrie? The lights on. One of the other things about the Rock DS, I do like how it drives. Just a little bit less, tippy. I think that's an official term I can use. Than the normal Rock. Star Citizen or a car, which is the better quote-unquote investment. To be fair, cars do have a tendency to keep costing you a lot of money after you buy them, so that's maybe where SC comes out ahead. Hi James, how you doing? Less squirrely, LJB. That's a good term for it. Less squirrely, I like that one. I don't know how in this relatively flat terrain I managed to find the only hill for those gems to roll down though. Let's see. Another deposit fairly close, or is that just some... a 8850, let's see. And yes, that was me revealing that while I've been putting it off for some years, I probably need to go and see an optician. That is normal rocks. That one just popped at 2,000 odd meters, so I'm pretty comfortable. That's going to be gems. One of the slightly strange things in the Valk, you don't necessarily feel like you're going fast. It feels a lot slower than it is. Right. Double check that. Ooh. Just double check and see if that's Aphorite or Dolvine. Aphorite. I'm willing to do Aphorite this evening, but at no point will I ever be convinced to stop for Dolvine. I'm not about making my life harder for less profit. That was my open exterior. That one? There we go. 48k on SC or 48k on a car. Can I keep the 48k and use it for more sensible things? Is that an option in that question? Because like, I feel like there are many things I would. I mean, like if I had 48k, I'd probably spend like, you know, maybe I'd go ahead and buy that Pioneer. And maybe I would buy a car. But I wouldn't need a £48,000 car. Well, I suppose you mean $48,000, because that is the price of that that completely insane everything in the game Star Citizen pack, isn't it? Is my scanner leading me to the wrong gems? Because I really feel like I landed a lot closer. Yeah, it'd probably help if I... There we go. I was driving to the other ones that I just did. This will teach me to drive and read chat. This is exactly why you're not allowed to text and drive. In case you were wondering. Exactly why we don't read text messages and drive. Because those were the gems I was looking for. Now let's just really hope I don't cook these too much. Because they are very close to my... If I was more sensible, I would probably move the ship a little bit, but I have not learned my lesson from what happened at the start of this evening. Yeah, so the reason I will never ever ascribe the term investment to Star Citizen stuff is because investments are things you buy expecting a financial return, like a financial return that you can actually get money back off, right? And there is no real avenue to get money back off your internet spaceships. There are free markets and stuff, but like they are not technically within the terms of TOS, so I would not accept them. However, you know, a car will definitely go down in value the moment you buy it. But then a car has real world utility, you know, you can use a car to get to a job. As much as I wish I could, I cannot use my Anvil Valkyrie to get to my job. And to be fair, I think the police would have something to say about all the laser guns on it. Considering British gun laws, I don't think they would accept my my size 3 laser repeaters as okay for me to own. Well, there's a reclaimer. Why do I get the feeling that I'm about to be tractor beamed away? Not much I can do. Let's just hope that's somebody who has just come for a look at somebody doing some mining. See, coming to land next to me. This is sure to go well. PvP Reclaimer. Yeah, I think there was a thing I saw recently which was just like, you know, you can use like the tractor beams and stuff on a Reclaimer to like tractor beam people away.
Fracturing mode on.
I was half expecting that to happen. Let's just get out of my ship and take a little look.
Mining mode.
I do have a railgun. I'm not sure a railgun's going to do very much against a reclaimer. Like, that is a lot of ship to get through. Let's just have a look. Oh, and it could be somebody just come for a hello. What are your intentions, sir? Ah, it's noise just giving me a spook. Ah, back to mining. Good times. Oh, Fed, you went neck deep. How you doing, mate? You went neck deep into 3D printing. Now that is a good way to end up poor. Very good way to end up poor. Very cool way to end up poor. One of my good friends got really into it, and yeah, sort of showed me this vase that he made.
Mining mode on.
It was a cool vase, not gonna lie. But then it was after he told me, he was like, I asked him how much it cost to print, and he was like, yeah, I reckon sort of energy and materials, like, you know, probably something like $15–20. But then once I factor in all the test ones I did before I got this one to work, then, you know, a lot more than that, so. I believe it's Noise Maze come to say hello to me in the Reclaimer, and he can find me because we are friends, and he can track me down with the. This is a good point of learning, I guess. Be careful about who you allow onto your friends list, because you know, Noise Maze is the right type of people. He's okay, but you've got that comlink thing right in your ship MFDs, and then you'll get distance to an individual person on those. So you can use that to find people quite recently, obviously. Could railgun it? It'd be interesting to see. Not that I'm going to test it on Noise Maze's Reclaimer, but it would be interesting to see what sort of, how many shots does something like a Reclaimer take, because like the shields on that thing are absolutely massive. Just in case you decide to start sciencing on my Reclaimer. Yeah, that's exactly it there, Fed. Finishing an order for £5, having spent £20 in material and energy. I think 3D printing is like one of those things which, you know, it's great if you're doing it for a hobby, but people I've talked to, doing it from sort of a commercial perspective takes massive scale, right? Oh, sorry, lethal injection. Sorry, I'm pretty bad at checking my emails. But I can answer that question now. In terms of... Right, yeah. My recommendations for haulers for refined goods would still be a Freelancer Max for sort of like a starter cargo ship, or the Constellation Taurus if you're willing to spend a little bit more. And I particularly like the Connie Taurus now. So the thing is, like, if you're looking at it from, if I was looking at it from the pure utility of, like, the only thing I'm going to do with this ship is I am going to run mining jobs from the refinery to the TDD, and I don't care about using it at any other time, then I would probably say the Freelancer Max is your first one. But I think the Taurus just offers like a lot more utility. So you can then, like, that's a ship that you might get some other use out of, right? Yeah, so the Freelancer Max has 120 SCU, which is plenty. Like that, if you sort of think about it, you'll most likely in a Prospector get like four loads into that, because the Prospector's 32 is likely to include a bit of inert material or like lower value minerals. So then it's yeah, it's likely to do 4 Prospector jobs. I find it very hard after that to recommend anything other than the C2, because it's just, you know, it is the biggest cargo shipping game that you can land at a TDD with. 696 SEU, and it, you know, it shouldn't, but it flies amazingly well for a big ship. Like, I really like the Caterpillar as a in-law, like, makes me feel like a space trucker. Get my flannel shirt on to go with my baseball cap and go out space trucking in my Caterpillar. But, like, compared to a C2, it's nowhere near as efficient. Doesn't get down to planet surfaces anywhere near as quickly, doesn't handle anywhere near as well. And, you know, has less capacity. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely with you there, Valhallan. That if I could just pick one of them, I would probably pick the Taurus. Between the Taurus and the Freelancer Max, it's just purely if you are getting into prospector mining. Because, you know, when you're getting into prospector mining, actually the difference between like 2 and 3 million is a lot. You know, you spend your 2 million on your Freelancer Max 2.1. You know, that's change. So 2.1 million, and then you're straight into running those jobs to the refinery that much quicker. So, but yeah, the extra utility of the Taurus. Like, a Taurus is probably a ship you would use later, after you've gone up in the mining game and you are like running C2's worth of stuff. There's still like good use cases for the Taurus. So whereas at that point a Freelancer Max is likely to sit in your hangar doing nothing. So I got a bit of a special place in my heart for the Freelancer Max, because when I got really into the game and I started doing lots of prospector mining, that was the ship I used for a long time. Sort of bought a prospector in game, then I used the prospector to buy a Freelancer Max, then I used that combo to buy the mole. Then I was still sort of running my loads in the Freelancer Max until I picked up a C2. Oh yeah, wait for that scan to happen. Yeah, the Taurus is really good for the sort of salvage cargo, and, you know, like all colonies, like the guns are pretty good. Like, you can do quite a decent amount of bounty hunting in that, and you've still got one of the turrets, right? So then that ship tractor beam is really good for filling up your own cargo hold. I'll admit, until I did that daily driver video, I hadn't quite worked out how good the Taurus was. I was very definitely guilty of underestimating it. It's, although for the bounty hunting cargo, I very definitely went C2. Strap that thing with some 85Bs, and it slaps. And then you got 696 SEU of cargo. So the Herc is also multi-use.
Extraction mode on.
Yeah, 6k DPS with the ballistics. That is very good. What sort of ammo count do you get with that on 84Bs? Is it about 1,600 per gun? 1,400 maybe? I'm trying to think, because we had some on the Hammerhead the other day when we're doing a few fleet battles. I was sad. We did an amazing event that Siler put on the other day. But it was sort of a two-stage thing with the we had a fleet battle, and then we had a sort of simulated boarding with one team defending and one team attacking on a Carrack. And unfortunately, I completely screwed the pooch on the fleet battle thing. I vastly overestimated E02s. Particularly since, unfortunately, the E02s, a lot of the turret guns, just don't get pips. Like, so I was in the dual size 5 turrets, and yeah, neither of those had a pip on them, which made it completely useless, and we got absolutely shredded. We managed to redeem ourselves in the FPS round, though. I was so proud of everybody on that. I got a passenger. I'm really hoping that's you, Noise. Am I stealing you? Hey, Floney, how you doing? Yeah, walking off that Carrack at the end, and we lost a few people, but like everybody who walked off that ship stumbled off with like at minimum 3 bodily injuries. And there was a bit of a competition on the go. We were having a little bit of a laugh as we were making our last stand in the hallway. But I think it was Skylancer was just like, I've got like tier 2s in both my legs, a tier 3 chest injury and a tier 3 head injury, and then somebody else reeled off their list of injuries. It was just like, as the gunfight was going on, it was just like, it's not actually a competition, boys. Calm down. You ideally want people to be less injured here. Yeah, Jaden, I do hope we get more ammunition. Although, to be fair, I don't mind the amount of ammunition the guns have, as long as, you know, rearming comes in. So as long as we get like the ability, you know, you got like that 2 SCU of space on the Redeemer, for example. Like, I just won't be able to use that to fill that with extra bullets, and then go and kit them out and re-equip my guns with ammo. Alright, short return. I think. Go have a look at it. double loud sounds almost quite worrying. I almost feel quite sympathetic for you, Fed. Let's see. Might go have found another of Damar's hills. That's a decent amount. Make sure it's not hated Dolvine. Yeah, we're loving the Aphorite today. The Aphorite is plentiful. Let's see, is the ship going to fit into this little ravine? Oh. Well, I wouldn't say it's stable. See what happens when we get the ramp down. Right now, that would definitely be a trap. Let's try landing on the top of the hill, maybe. Yeah, ballistics on stuff like fighters is a bit too painful in terms of size, in terms of the ammo count that you get. I think particularly with the likes of the F8, you've potentially got enough guns that you can go for a viable mixed loadout, right? So you know, 4 and 4 can work, although missed the jump. The one which I've seen, which is absolutely horrendous to fight against, is the full distortion F8s. when you're doing stuff like Jump Town in Atmo. That was just absolutely nuts. We came up against a group of guys who were, you know, very good PvPers. I think they were from Moist Noodles group, but a bunch of them were running full distortion F8s, and they were absolutely insane. Wonder if I turn off the engine as it gets stop sliding. Handbrake on. The ship I'm flying at the moment, Moldavrak, is the Anvil Valkyrie. Particularly now, my favoured rock is the Rock DS. Has become my go-to for rock mining. My Cutlass Black was always my faithful rock mining ship, but it is not big enough to take the DS. So
Fracturing mode on.
on the mining arm to extend this patch. Yeah, it seems to be working. Although, like say, call me, I'm using the DS, so yeah, I don't know about the normal rock. I made a while ago. I was making the rock mining guide video, and I thought to myself, like, should I include the bit on the DS? And I ummed and ahed on it, and then I was just like, yeah, I should go and do some just for the sake of making it a complete guide. And yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a lot better than I expected it to be. My suggestion for a daily driver, but I'm not allowed to pick my Cutlass Black. That's... Okay, so just for the record, Cutlass Black. But assuming that I can't pick the colours black. Hey, Phaedrus, how you doing, mate? Alright, I can't pick the colours black. What's the problem is that a lot of those are... A lot of the others I like for a lot of different reasons, like the Taurus, like we were talking about a little while ago. And I think particularly if you're talking in the context of Pyro, I think the Taurus could be a really good shout. The C1 as well. I mean, I stopped short of sort of recognizing the recommending the C1 in the video itself because I don't like recommending ships that cost hundreds of dollars and are only accessible because they when you cash pay for them it's. But I think when that ship comes out and it's like 2 to 3 mil, like then the C1, you know, you got that tractor beam as well. Like that's really useful utility. Skylancers gonna hate me if I don't mention the 400i. Yeah, I think the 400i feels really good if you're just doing a bit of touring. Yeah, 600i didn't stick in my video as a potential daily driver, but you know it is potential daily driver. I think my only concern on the 600i is maybe when we get into the realm of the, you know, the engineering stuff coming online, maybe it might just be a bit too much for a solo player. Or LJB, I want to love the Corsair, I do, but I don't. I just like I thought I would really enjoy it, and it has amazing firepower. But I can't find myself enjoying where it's how it flies. Oh yeah, the Cutty Black's got that tractor beam as well. Although it's funny, right? That is one of the areas where like new ships shine, right? And sometimes the shiny new ships cast a bit of a shadow over the older ships because yes, the Cutlass Black has a tractor beam, but when you sort of look at the placement of that tractor beam and the range of motion you get on it compared to like the C1 or the Taurus, it's just so bad. But yeah. Oh hiya Grant, how are you doing, mate? Yeah, I had a bit of a lull. Still made some videos and stuff, but we've had Ali's mum's come over from Ukraine and has been staying with us for a bit. So yeah, it's been lovely, but it's been a little bit of a you know, we live in a 1-bedroom flat, for reference. so you know, already sort of Krug, my dog, takes up a lot of that space. So then once we chucked another adult human being into the equation, it has unfortunately eaten into my gaming time. As has, if I'm completely honest, the fact that we are just getting to the end of the season for League of Legends. And you know, I desperately tried to make Platinum this year, but like, I'm getting old. hard stuck at Gold 1, so. Yeah, Valhallan, the Retaliator, I didn't include that one in my list because, yeah, right now what we've got is the Retaliator Bomber. But when the Retaliator gets its modular rework and you move over to having like the Retaliator base and then some variants, Like, assuming they bring in sort of the full modularity with that. Modularity could actually make for a really good daily driver. The ones I'm sort of most excited about, though, for the future are the Zeuses. Like, because I really like the Connies. And overall, I've realised that without meaning to be, I've become a bit of an RSI fanboy, I think. But I'm just really looking forward to seeing, like, seeing what they do with some newer RSI ships. And yeah, I think particularly like the Zeus Clipper, could make an incredibly good daily driver. The one I bought a CCU for, I forgot the exact sort of naming conventions of them, but I think it's the MR, the Bounty Hunter version. Yeah, that just looked really cool to me. And I like the idea of of interdiction ships that are like just a bit tougher. Yeah, I didn't really see, because I always sort of like favoured Drake and Argo, I guess. Were two of my favourite manufacturers. But then they just, you know, there's a bit of Chris Roberts' favouritism in there, isn't there? Oh, we got this really cool design. Yeah, my company made it. Job done. So yeah, they just kept on coming out with cool ships. And yeah, Connie Phoenix has got a hot tub, although I personally look forward to the day that I can replace that hot tub with a grand piano. I feel like my luxury ship, I would be happier with a piano in it than a hot tub. Hot tubs are gross when you really stop and think about them. Yeah, the Connies are in need of some love. It's particularly for me when you sort of realise, like, you take like the Andromeda or the Aquila, or Aquila, depending on how you pronounce that. Like, they all have like the same-ish cargo space as the Phoenix. Like, the Phoenix has the same cargo capacity as the Andromeda. So like, all that space that becomes like luxury travel, like you've got all that great like living area in a Phoenix. Like, that's all technically there on an Andromeda. It's just not utilized, which is, yeah, kind of annoying, to be honest. Because I think that's one of the things which I find a bit of a letdown about the Connies. Like, a lot of people like say the bridge and the view, all that sort of stuff, but I just got flown over again. People are coming to say hello. But yeah, also the snub, like, Hannah, you are absolutely right. Like, having a snub is big. But again, like, I think the reason people don't talk about that sort of stuff so much is because people don't cruise ships. Like, they think about, like, which one of these is best from, like, a solo or, like, me and a mate or two perspective. So Synthetic Dev has come to say hello. Like, I wonder how these people keep finding me. Out in the middle of nowhere in Daymar. Because no, I am not near an outpost. I think they are tracking me down. Oh, that's good to know. Archimedes, solid pick for PvP. I believe I've got one, so that's nice. I've been raided by my own org. They just want me to. They just want me there to watch me blow up a rock again, distracting me with their flyovers. I reckon. Have you guys got some side action on the go, in terms of when I'm gonna blow myself up, and you're trying to just distract me a little bit and get me to overcook a rock? That's what that feels like. Right. Not today, Dev. Not today.
Mining mode on.
Exactly it, Noise. I reckon you've organised a bit of side action. Right. Yeah, particularly when sort of like Pyro comes around, when we get engineering, so these ships are, you know, so people are thinking about them more in terms of like, right, it's a 4-person ship, I'm going to bring 4 people for it. I think that snub all of a sudden is a pretty huge benefit. One of the other reasons I like the Rock DS, by the way, in terms of being able, like, if you do park your ship a little bit, so the ramp's a little bit off the ground, it mounts that ramp a lot easier than the standard Rock does. I'm just slowly kidnapping my own org members. So Hannah, when you say you're making 20 million plus a day with the RMC route, yeah, pirating it. There we go. I was just like, Hannah, become a trader. The new Jack Axton. This what's going on? No, that makes a lot more sense. I really love seeing trade routes like that pop up, though. There needs to be more of it. You know, because that's what's going to encourage, you know, high profitability equals sort of people being more willing to run it in convoys. Like we did a little bit, and it's definitely something I want to go back and do more of. We did around, like, when we were doing all that stuff for the guide system. We did a bunch of like convoys. So that was actually really fun, like getting like 4 or 5 C2s or Caterpillars and buying out all the beryl from like the moons around Hurston, but then running it with an actual big convoy. Alright, that looks decidedly green to me, but I'll just make sure. Oh, hadn't I? Right, this is, yeah. Specsavers should be getting a call from me in the next couple of days. So, a little put off because I'm like, I think I would hate wearing glasses because I would lose glasses all of the time. And that means that I need to think about contact lenses. And that means I need to consider sticking my finger in my eye on a daily basis, and I'm also not sure I'm signed up for that, so maybe I'll just carry on not being able to see very well. That's also an option. Yeah, convoying can actually be really fun. And it's also like a sort of find, when you've got people escorting, it's good to actually get everybody involved. Like it's maybe more involved than, for example, like security work protecting protecting a mining run. So even if nothing happens at all, like you still feel like you've been really active. Good. For a second I thought somebody was walking around outside my house in my back garden until I realised it was the dog. That was a moment of relief. Yeah, gone are the days, right, of all the miners are on Lyria and nowhere else. And yeah, I'd imagine salvage is quite hard. I was talking to another pirate who was telling me they were having a really easy time just finding people at like OM1 around Yella. And I can't help but think when I hear stuff like that, you know. That is people just not trying. That's the low-hanging fruit of the community. Yeah, we will try and get some form of Krug Cam working for the future. He's actually being semi-active tonight though, so yeah, I would imagine the type of piracy hits you get at OM1 at Yella probably involve you just floating aboard somebody's ship who isn't looking at what they're doing. Like, just to be clear, I'm not concentrating very much on what I'm doing at the moment right now, but it's because I'm streaming and I'm not... My attention's only half in the game, shall we say. But I'd imagine you float aboard the ship, you shoot the one solo player in the Reclaimer wearing a white beacon undersuit. Then... yes. Then you grab the profit, which probably isn't the gameplay you're after, right? Yeah, sure. Cool, ping me some cool tech. I'm always in the market for cool tech. Yeah, exactly, noise. Like, that sort of stuff is so easy to avoid that I can only think it is players who are then no difficulty to pirate whatsoever who are getting caught by it.
Extraction mode on.
Oh, nice. I will definitely, if you want, ping me a DM on that, and I will take a look later. How did I choose low spec gaming, Fed? Was it? Oh right, I get it. We're on about my eyesight, aren't we? I caught up. I got there eventually. No, it's fine. I'll just do what I've done until now, right? I'll just progressively get bigger and bigger screens. Then I'll be fine. Oh, almost did that thing with the excessive power again. This is all being a little bit weird. That's at 0% laser intensity. There we go. I think got maybe just a little bit of desync. Yeah. So I grabbed a Scorpius Antares recently, and I've been wanting to go and check it out after those quality of life upgrades. Hi, Blue Rage. How you doing, mate? All good this end. After a bit of a shaky start, we've actually had some moderately successful rock mining. It's nice and therapeutic. the therapeutic, relaxing activity, rock mining, I find. Which for a while I felt about salvage, but I just find salvage is like... Salvage is that bit too easy. It's like... You know, there is no skill to it. You turn the laser on. It's good having a little bit. That's why I still love mining, even though people tell me mining is dead. Mining's only dead if you're coming at the game from the perspective of how much AUEC am I making. Which is kind of, it goes for all game loops. It's something I have definitely said before, and sorry if I'm repetitive, but I will probably say it again. Like, there will always in every patch be like a meta of the thing which makes the most AUEC per hour. And if that's you know, there's nothing wrong with chasing that, right? Like, you know, I'm a big believer in like make your in-game money and buy your ships in-game, try out the cool stuff. But like, there is a finite number. I used to know it off by heart, but there have been some more ships added to the shops in the intervening time. It used to be around 227 million credits. Like, there is just a magic number at which point you've just bought every ship in the game. And then what do you do? Like, so I think there's a pretty good argument for like just find the gameplay that you find fun and do that. Like, so mining now is nowhere near as profitable as it used to be, but I do it because I find it fun. So like Jack Axton, who I really like, is a YouTuber and streamer, and Jack does trade. And at one point, you know, trade obviously like got a lot more profitable recently, and like for a little while before all the cargo salvage stuff came in, you know, trading was the meta. But for quite a while before that, you know, trading was absolutely in the doldrums, and a lot of people would be like, trading's dead, there's no point to trading. But Jack was out in his Caterpillar trading because he likes trading. Like, it's gameplay that he enjoys, and at the end of the day, I think you're gonna have a lot more fun in Star Citizen if you focus on doing gameplay that you enjoy, as opposed to just like forever looking at it from the perspective of how much AUEC can I make in a 60-minute window. Oh, thanks very much, Cup. It's much appreciated. You're still young, Fed. There's time for your eyes. Catch up. So yeah. I know I'm clean shaven today, but fortunately there's no getting away from age. It comes for us all. Somebody stayed with them until it was full. I remember ages ago watching a really funny pirate video, because it was about like 8 members of a pirate organization, and it was sort of a rock miner hit, and the video was like cut, you know, just for the sake of time. But you could tell that this group of pirates had followed this poor rock miner around while Yoshi build up their rock, but you could tell by the movement of like the day-night cycle on the planet that basically like 6+ people had been sat for quite some time watching one person mine to then go and like distortion them and steal their gems off them. It was a slightly risky vape break. We nearly took it into the red. Remember to get that scan first. That's what undid me at the last one. This is one of the nice things about the DS as well. You know, that extra power does come in handy when it comes to mining these rocks at range. And if you can mine them from a longer range, then you can... yeah, you don't have to move around so much, basically. How often do I get called out in game? Not very much if I keep my mouth shut. If I don't go typing in global chat. It's one of the things I quite like about playing on some of my old accounts now, actually. Because I really like a chat in F12 global. You know, particularly when you get a server where it's like nice and civil and people are just having a chat about the game or like sharing some tips. But yeah. How do you get onto a ship if the doors are closed? You shoot them. Yeah, you can basically break open all doors in the game by once somebody's shields are off. If you shoot the door itself, then it will open. What do you think? Sorry, let me just. I'm definitely not going to overcoat that rock while I read. How many times more expensive will be the ships in the final version of the game? Wondering how long it will take to grind out a capital ship. So they've sort of said that like 4 to 12 times is the range. So I would imagine something like some like the ground vehicles, for instance, will probably be in the 4 times. So you know you'll probably find like your cyclones costing like what 120 to 150k for a buggy. Maybe something like the ballistas and that sort of stuff going for like 1 and a bit million. And I wonder if that sort of 4 times will extend up to like your sort of smaller like profession starter ships. So you know that would have like an Arrow or a Gladius going up to about 4 million. That would have a Prospector going up to like 8. But then, yeah, 12 times at the higher end would have like a Carrack at something like 300 million credits. An 890 jump at like 400 million. I mean, those sorts of numbers, like, they do kind of make sense. They are big, but I would very much imagine that capital ships, when they come to game, will be like when we're in like the final version of the game. I do think that capital ships should be billions of credits, or at least a billion. So. Flint, are you doing the thing we were talking about the other night where you can just claim that you own Brio's breaker yard and demand payment for people to land? Very nice of you, charging them 1 AUEC though. Like that. Yeah, it is possible that entry level ships could stay low in price, but then again, like, everybody's kind of gonna have an entry level ship. Like, even if it comes with your game pack, right? Like, I can see starter ships not going up too much more. It also, like, it's very hard to work out when we don't have any real indication of where the economy's going. Like, yeah, they're gonna go up like 4 to 12 times or whatever, but what are normalized payouts gonna look like? Yeah, I would imagine Blue Range it will be an amount of grinding for a solo player to buy a capital ship that will make it nigh on impossible. But then again, like, chances are, will you be able to use that capital ship even if you did buy it as a solo player? Yeah, well, I'm kind of in the camp that thinks probably not. My incredibly useful crew blocked me in with the thanks, guys. Parked a little bit far forward. Let's see. To back it up. Yeah, pledged bigger ships might be seen by newer players as pay to win. I think realistically, like there's no getting away from it, really, is there? Like, buy ship with money is pay to win. It's certainly, like, if you prefer a different terminology, it's certainly pay for advantage. I think one of the things which, like, Star Citizen does quite well. Oh no, Rocky. Yeah, I think one of the things SC does quite well is, like, these really big, massive ships tend to be multi-crew. Like, so the way I look at it is that, like, one person buys one of these big ships, like if you take a Polaris, you know, one person's bought it, fair enough. But then that only becomes a huge advantage if that only becomes a big advantage if you then actually have the crew to use it. So then, in a way, like, if we say, like, the Polaris is maybe going to take, like, a crew of 14, you know, that person has then effectively sort of purchased gameplay for 13 other people who could just have an Aurora. Like, it's quite possible. I think I'm gonna probably take my gems to sell and get my meager profits. Might be able to enjoy some fancy crews. Yeah. Going back to the gameplay thing, it's a conversation myself and Ravnak have had a number of times. When people sort of complain that, for example, the profits from mining have decreased. Like, Ravnak points out that his box deliveries, which used to pay him 4,000 credits per run, some reason CIG decided to cut that to 3,000. I think sort of reading too, there's a possibility to sort of read too much into economy at the moment, because realistically, I sort of think all the economy stuff which we've got right now is more about like how to drive players to do certain things. Like I think, for example, you know, because clearly the profits from like the moving boxes, like salvage, way too high. And oh no, Ravnak, somebody doesn't not let you moderate the Twitch stream. Somebody forgot to let you moderate the Twitch stream. And I will do. But yeah, please nobody click on that supposed great link. I think you're all sensible enough not to. But yeah, I think a large part of like the economy, so to speak, is really directing play. So it's directing play to areas where, you know, testing would be most beneficial. So I think even with regard to like the salvage side of things, you know, they just put all those new boxes in, all the box types. They just put new tractor beam mechanics in. Like, it's helpful to gather mass data of people moving and stacking lots of boxes. It's less important for, you know, them to gather data on mining, for example, at the moment. So it's very much like, and you know, the whole idea behind like the Star Citizen economy long term is it's so much more complex. Like, you know, once you got multiple systems, different sources of demand, yada yada yada, like there is a lot to come. So just check, right? Little trick. Throw those into there. So now if we 30k at that moment where we're off to sell, doesn't matter, because it's all just neatly in the inventory. So yeah, there's huge change to come with the economics of Star Citizen. So while we can say like, you know, ship prices are likely to go up by X, it's impossible to then tell if that final number is that a lot of money. How many hours is that of grind? Like at this stage, nobody knows. Right, so you can just select from the mining facility itself, and yeah. Oh, 56k. I'm gonna be rich. Nice. Well, that could have been better if I didn't have, if I hadn't maybe blown up rock number 1. And we're getting an interesting cost mismatch. We'll come back later and we'll see if that decides to work. Well, I think that's a couple of hours, and that's about the time that I booked out with my wife to let me do a stream. So I think I'm gonna probably draw it to a close about there. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming and hanging out. It's been really fun. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'm probably going to do another stream later this week. I'm going to try something a little bit new. A little bit new, but a little bit old. So, so I've been thinking about doing another couple of getting organised videos. You know, the ones where I do, like, we build fleets for like 5 people, 30 people orgs, and 100-person orgs. But I thought something which I would just experiment with a little bit was like doing the actual like making of one of those live on a stream, having a bit of a chat about it, putting together some ideas, and then once sort of put the fleets together, then I can go away and turn that into a proper video. I thought it could be quite a fun thing to just like do for an hour or so, have a chat about it as putting that together. And I thought, particularly after sort of the video I put out yesterday, I thought it would be quite interesting to do like a construction themed org, because I think that could be a really interesting area of the game. Like once base building comes in, sort of construction as a contractor type thing, or maybe speculating on a property empire by sort of acquiring land, building stuff on it, and then, if that's possible, then selling that land as sort of a pre-developed asset onto other people. So yeah, we'll check that out. We'll check that out probably Thursday or Friday this week, depending on what my week looks like. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and let me just see. I'm just gonna check if anybody else I know is live at the moment that I can send you all on to. Have a quick look. I'll get better at playing for time while I'm double distracted here. Let's see. Is that Space Tomato live? Yeah, awesome. Right, I'm just gonna pop a link to Space Tomato's stream in chat. If you guys want to go and hang out with him, they probably put one in the Twitch chat, but it's gonna be his YouTube link. But yeah, I'm afraid this is the end. But go and show Space Tomato some love, and I will catch you all later. Thank you very much.